love, peace, happiness, contentment. Virtues make our life better. Let us ponder on our virtues. Virtues for life.
Hello and welcome to Virtues for Life. This program is a conversation between Brahma Kumaris and Kumaris about virtues. Virtues, values, qualities and powers are the treasures of our life. They are the decoration of the soul and the foundation of a value-based life. The laws of spirituality have taught us that if we really want to be a catalyst for positive change in society, then the principal way is to work on ourselves for personal self-transformation. And anyone who includes a spiritual practice in their lives, anyone who regularly practices meditation, instead of being a mere consumer in this world, such a one can be a contributor and be an important catalyst for positive social change so that we can all live in a better world. Today we're going to look at the virtue of trust, and I have with me in the studio Rosemary Turberville from London. Rosemary is a person who has lived all over the world, in the Middle East, in Europe, in the United States. She is a mother and she is also a dedicated Brahma Kumari who uses her time and expertise to participate in our meditation center in Manchester, England. So Rosemary, thank you very much for coming to Virtues for Life today. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we're talking about the virtue of trust, and trust is a huge subject. Perhaps you can give me your take on what trust means to you.
I think most recently I've developed a great deal of trust in what is happening is meant to be happening. Mm-hmm. So really I don't need to worry about anything that is going to happen. Life will take care of something, particularly if I'm behaving in what I call a righteous way.
So there's a connection then between fulfilling your responsibilities, performing your actions accurately, and then knowing that the outcome will be predictable.
Yes, it may not be as predictable as I would have predicted, but it will be in its own way correct.
Because there are laws, right?
Spiritual laws particularly.
If you plant a cabbage seed, you will get a cabbage.
Yeah.
So in that sense,
at a particular time too.
That's right.
You know, if I plant an oak seed, an acorn, when is it going to fruit?
30 years.
So same with my thoughts. But with trust, I have to, if I am behaving in a correct manner, what I deem to be correct, and what I've been taught by the Brahma Kumaris, then I really don't have any fear. I can trust.
So how do you determine what's correct then?
One of the biggest problems before I took this knowledge was a mind that was so insecure and in low self-esteem that I would be very critical, comparing, condemning, commenting, what we call the big C's. And that meant that I didn't trust.
So you were more in a kind of defensive state?
Without doubt.
So what made the difference?
Understanding. Understanding what life is all about, how life could be, how life can be, life can be harmonious. You need to use the virtues and let go of all the negativity. And that is negativity. Criticism is deeply negative because it's transferring probably what I have inside me onto other people.
So if you have negativity inside and you transfer it onto other people, is it emptying out or is it increasing?
Increasing. It sticks like glue, you know?
So what's the way to remove negativity from inside?
Put in positivity.
And
It's
where do
so
you get
simple.
that from?
Well, if you take any virtue, and your whole program, all your programs are on virtues, if you take any one and study it and how to become it, that will push out the negativity. Because I've always been a fairly positive person in spite of a very odd life. If you expect an outcome to be good, most of the time it probably will. But if you immediately say, oh, well, that's rubbish and it won't work, well, it probably won't. So what you feed yourself is what's going to be given out.
Okay, yes, that's what they say for computers.
Yes.
What you put in is
Definitely
what you're going to get out.
That's right. That's right. And it's true of life. You know, if you're a generous, loving person without any expectations of anything coming back, what I call pure love, which I'm trying to develop with my children, then people don't have a fear of you. They trust you.
So
Very important.
what is the atmosphere that you exude so that people trust you? Why would somebody trust you?
When they, and I've been told this, and I hope it's true, the two words I'm thinking of, or the one word with a little bit of an attachment, is non-judgmental. Because if you come across somebody who you know has talked about other people to you, then you know they're going to do that about you. So they are judging you. Mm-hmm. And if people feel free to be able to come and tell me a problem or discuss something, and they know I'm not going to judge them, I'm not going to criticize them, I'm going to accept what they say with no thought about it, really.
And you're not going to repeat
And I won't repeat it. Yeah. That's being trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Trustworthy.
So trustworthiness is a very, very good virtue.
Yes.
How does a person, make themselves trustworthy? What are the signs of being trustworthy, or the disciplines connected with it?
I think I'd like to backtrack a little bit. One of the things that we want to be is to belong. And so you want to be with an in crowd, that feeling? Mm-hmm. And so if you're in with the in crowd, you know certain things with that crowd, and you feel strong because you're in the crowd. And so the gossip probably happens. So you chit-chat amongst yourself about other people, because that's what people do in life. They're huge gossips, really.
And gossiping
is detrimental. It is detrimental. Really detrimental.
So if you're trustworthy, then you would not be a gossip.
You don't gossip. And you don't repeat things, but you repeat things to other people because you want to be powerful. You want people to think, oh, she knows things. That is all an accessory that I don't need.
So it's an accessory to low self-esteem?
Yes, because you need to build yourself up to be part of the crowd. Now, because of the inner work, I can be on my own. I don't feel lonely. And people can come to me if they want to, because they know and trust me that I'm not going to gossip.
So you can be a standalone person who belongs?
Yes, well put. Yeah, no, I like that. You can belong. I know that before I stumbled upon the Brahma Kumaris, my girlfriend said to me, because I'd left my husband, she said to me, "What are you going to do? What's going on?" And I said, "I'm looking for a community." She thought I'd gone bonkers. But actually...
Why were you looking for a community?
I don't know. It just came out. And of course, in a way, my path led me to the Brahma Kumaris, and that's exactly what I found, interestingly. A family, a community, a sense of belonging. And I suppose deep down, I must have trusted that life was going to give me this. Deep down, I must have known.
So being part of a community, what are the areas of trust and trustworthiness that are really ornaments to a member of a community?
I think the thing that people say to me, which brings their trust, is the fact that if I'm asked to do something, I'll do it.
So that means that you're reliable?
Very reliable.
So reliability and trust really are complementary.
I would think so.
Other.
One of the things, anyway. There are probably many others, but I think that if it's marvelous, isn't it? You know that person is going to do what you've asked them to do. Yeah. It's a sense of relief for the person who's asked you to do it.
So that you can actually be part of a team when everybody trusts that, yes. you will do what you say you will do.
Yes, definitely.
So this actually moves us away. You were talking on another occasion about the dysfunctional family. So this would be an element of making a community really functional when everyone can be relied upon to do what they say they will do.
Yes.
And not change their minds halfway through.
Because then you don't know where you stand. You know, if you're trustworthy, you are somebody who can be relied on, as you say, reliable, and you know where you stand. It's very important for people to know where you're coming from.
And trustworthiness also brings to me this the quality of honesty. One of the difficulties people have is people lie.
To themselves.
To themselves, to each other, to you and me. How do you deal with people who lie to you?
With great difficulty.
What does it do to you?
I have to learn not to, but I question why. Why are they doing that? But I have learned to accept it, because I think, as we've discussed in other situations, that I have to allow people to be the way they are. And if they need to lie about something, there must be a reason. I don't need to know it.
Yeah, if somebody's lying to you and you know they're lying to you, what does that do to your vision of that person?
Well, my effort is not to let that vision change. But of course it does. It means that possibly I won't trust them again. Truth means a lot to me personally, and I think authenticity means a lot to me, and if they're not being authentic, they're lying. So then, even though they don't know they're lying, they're behaving in an inauthentic fashion, that is lying.
Well, they might be knowing that they're
lying.
Or
they may know, yes, but I don't know. I don't know them, perhaps.
So this brings up the question of deception. People do try to deceive each other. We have a power in Rajyoga that we talk about, which is a very subtle one, the power of discernment or discrimination. If somebody's lying to you and you can discern it, does it matter? Because you're not deceived.
You're right. Discernment is extremely important, and I wonder whether you have it or you don't have it. I don't know if it's something you can learn. It's a very tricky one, discernment. I think if somebody's lying to me deliberately for the sake of something that I don't know about, I think after so many years of practice, I probably just accept.
They say you can't lie to an honest person.
No.
And that if a person is honest, they will know.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So then I think then there may be a connection between the practice of the virtue of honesty and the power of discernment.
Yes, I'd have to give that some thought, but I think you're right. And it's not all the overt honesty that I'm thinking about. I'm talking about the internal stuff. It's very important to be honest internally with yourself.
You talked about authenticity, and I often hear people saying there's nothing I want to be except one thing: I really want to be authentic. That means people feel that they're stuck in a state of being fake.
Yes. And the other word that comes to me is natural. You know, people perhaps think if you're a Brahma Kumari and you wear white, you've got to be in a certain mold. I don't believe that at all.
So what do you believe? What kind of a Brahma Kumari are you?
Well, I try to be awfully natural. I try to be very friendly, very loving. I'm working on myself. I still have likes and dislikes, which I'd like to see everybody with an equal vision. But I think, going back to trust, I think if you're natural, people will trust you more. It's because you're authentic. But it's the naturalness. It's not anything phony. You're not putting on airs or graces. I can't bear that. I think it stems from my parents. One of them was extremely putting on airs and graces all the time, and I just can't bear it.
You became allergic to it.
I became very allergic to it, and I hope I don't do it myself, but you don't always know and see yourself as other people see you. But that's what self-realization is all around. Eventually something will go ping and you say, okay, I've learned that lesson.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Are you able to trust others easily, or do you get deceived? How does that work for you?
I do get deceived, yes, a lot. One of my biggest...
Is that naivety?
No, I don't think it's naivety. I don't think I'm naive at all.
So what is it that causes you to get deceived?
I don't know.
Do you trust too easily, or?
I trust until somebody proves me wrong, possibly.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I probably
So you
trust
watch people carefully to see whether they are consistent within themselves.
Yeah.
And then you make your evaluation accordingly as a continuing assessment.
Yes, always a continuing assessment.
So what's the difference between that and being judgmental?
Because there's always a feeling of love within it, I hope. At least that's the effort.
So judgmental is more of
Criticism.
a condemnation.
Criticism, condemnation. That sort of judgment I'm talking about. Yes, because one of our powers is judgment.
Yes.
The power to judge. But it's usually about myself and not others.
We need to be a good judge of character.
Yes.
If we're not a good judge of character, we can easily get deceived.
Definitely, definitely.
And self-evaluation, what would you say about that?
I think we have to be very careful that we don't condemn ourselves all the time through lack of self-esteem. Because people often say, well, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it needs courage, yet another virtue.
Yes.
You need courage to be able to move away from those feelings, because those feelings come from somewhere. Sometimes you don't know where they've come from. And you have to let them go. You have to say, this is not me, this is not the true me. And this is what we're looking for, is the true me.
And how do you make contact with the true me?
I think the interesting thing for instance, this morning's class was talking, or it might have been not this morning, I can't remember, about knowing who you are, knowing who I'm connected to, and all the rest is peripheral. I just need to be the original essence of the virtues and the qualities of what we all know that are good.
So that you're bringing up the idea of getting your priorities right.
Yes, yes. Because all the things that I've been looking for, happiness, peace, Happiness was my key all my life. Never had it until now. And it's got nothing to do with any human being. It's really the unconditional love I get from God, because I have a relationship with Him. I know Him.
So do you have absolute trust in God?
Yes.
Have you ever experienced in your meditation that you feel God has withdrawn from you and you can't connect?
Yes, but it's not He who's disconnected, it's me. I've realized that. He's always there whenever I want Him. And I think that's where omnipresence has arrived, the sense of omnipresence. Because He's available to anybody who wants to think about Him. But if my sense of self-worth is not good, then I probably can't connect as well as I can if I'm behaving in that righteous way that I'm trying to talk about, and also the virtuous way, the virtues that you're talking about. That's what we have to do.
Okay, just one last question. Does God trust you?
Yes.
How do you know?
Because He's dragging me along. Because He has a pure vision of all of us. And I've experienced that.
So
but I have a journey to go.
Yeah, in front of God you are completely clear and transparent.
Yes.
You cannot
Absolutely.
try and pull the wool over
No.
those eyes.
And that's lovely. That's lovely.
Well, thank you very much, Rosemary. We're a little bit at the end of our time here, so I'd like to thank you for your insights, your wisdom on this subject of trust, a very deep subject. Let us ponder for a moment on trust and ask ourselves, am I trustworthy? And do I trust? Do I trust that all will be well? Do I trust in God? Do I trust myself? Do I trust those around me? It's a very beautiful virtue and a very deep virtue. So thank you, Rosemary, for being in this conversation today on virtues for life. These are beautiful decorations for all of us. Thank all of you for being with us today on Virtues for Life, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Om Shanti.